This week has seen a flurry of announcements around Layer 2 scaling solutions, with Aave's Matic bridge, Synthetix introducing Layer 2 staking on Optimism, and Loopring's mobile app hitting the Google Play Store, bringing all the advantages of Layer 2 to mobile users. And we'll be hearing from all of those teams later on.
I just can't tolerate Ethereum congestion anymore.
Now, I found myself using the Metamask and MyEtherWallet apps a lot recently, so I wanted to try out this new Loopring one, but it's Android only, and this is an iPhone. However, we do have one device at the office that runs on an Android-based operating system with some modifications. Yes, we're going to try and do ZK rollups natively in VR.
What did he say?
And no, it wasn't straightforward. But first, a thought.
Do you ever stop and think how much technology has embedded itself into our lives? The promise of saving us time, instant access, instant gratification, no more waiting. The thing is, I'm always waiting for something. For kids.
Daddy, go away!
For traffic lights. For files to transfer. For batteries to charge. For transactions to complete. For someone to let me in. And we fill those moments with other things. Or we fill them with nothing. But those moments in between, when we're forced to wait, have value. And those moments have meaning. Because you know, sometimes it's okay to wait.
Ha! Gotcha! That's not what you're here for at all, is it? You're here for speed, scaling, performance, Layer 2. And with that in mind, roll the titles. So this is a very exciting video for me because we finally get to talk about the Quest 2, the new device from Facebook that allows you to use VR without a PC connected. And man, this thing is awesome. And what I love about it is it just kind of fits into studio life for me. It's something I can just pick up and put on. And I love the fact that it's physical. I get a workout while I'm using it. So I can just, jump into VR when I'm doing, encodes or downloading footage. And it just gives me something to do. And in this world of Corona that we find ourselves in, our spaces have become incredibly small. The world we live in is compacted. We're all suffering from cabin fever, but with a VR headset, you can kind of go anywhere you want and do anything you want. And for the longest time, I kind of resisted this because if you're a filmmaker, you specifically point the camera where you want people to look. But with VR, they can look anywhere. So there was always this feeling that VR just kind of wasn't for me. But then I had a tour around Somnium Space with Artur, and I just got it. But it seems to me that Layer 2 scaling solutions in VR have a lot in common. They're both fantastic technologies that dramatically improve or create different versions of experiences that we already know. But there are huge barriers to entry for people already. In the early 90s, I think everyone thought VR was going to take off and be a huge breakthrough technology. And I remember seeing it in Jurassic Park and thinking, yeah, this is cool.
And virtual reality displays show our geneticists the gaps in the DNA sequence.
But then it never happened. And 30 years later, finally, we have something that is sort of, I guess, delivering the promise of what VR could be back then. But it's still massively clunky. It's still a thing you put on your face and you look like a total idiot while doing it. And for Layer 2, there's still this barrier. Like, people don't really know what it is. They don't quite understand why they should go over there. And of course, there is still a transaction fee to get you over there and to get you into that space. But the fact is, I think Layer 2, having tried it out this week, is awesome. And given how many protocols are now starting to actively move over there as the price of Ethereum goes up, it's definitely something we should be looking at. And in the case of Loopring, because they have this mobile app and because we know mobile is the mechanism by which most people will access crypto in the future, it seems like the perfect time to try it out, or at least try it out. And in this case, I was doing it with the Oculus. But of course, before we get into any of that, we must ask ourselves, what exactly is layer 2?
Well, I'm going to tell you. Layer 1 is the standard base consensus layer where nearly all transactions are currently settled. Layer 2 is another layer built on top of layer 1. Ethereum can currently process roughly 15 transactions per second on the base layer, but layer 2 solutions can dramatically increase the number of transactions to somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 transactions per second. And the basic idea is this. Off-chain techniques allow participants to execute transactions between themselves directly instead of doing them on the blockchain, but without having to trust each other. And the parties involved maintain an off-chain state machine which is fraud-proof by protocol and only resume on-chain consensus when they absolutely have to. Layer 2 doesn't require any changes to be made to the underlying Layer 1, it can just be built on top using the existing elements such as smart contracts. Layer 2 leverages the security of Layer 1 by anchoring its state into that layer. Now, there's a number of different executions of Layer 2 solutions, such as channels, i.e. Raiden or Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Plasma is another Layer 2 scaling solution that was originally proposed by Joseph Poon and Vitalik Buterin, and it's a framework for building scalable applications on Ethereum. It leverages the use of smart contracts and Merkle trees to enable the creation of an unlimited number of child chains, which are copies of the parent Ethereum blockchain. OMG!
OMG!
And Matic are good examples, and a Matic bridge is what Aavegotchi deemed necessary to improve the experience of their game, with A tokens given greater value on Layer 2 than was previously possible. Then there's rollups, which bundle or roll up sidechain transactions into a single transaction and create a cryptographic proof, also known as a SNARK, or succinct non-interactive argument of knowledge, and only this proof is submitted to the base layer. And there are two types of rollups, ZK rollups and optimistic rollups. ZK rollups, although faster and more efficient than optimistic rollups, don't provide an easy way for the existing smart contracts to migrate to Layer 2. The ZK rollups are the type used by Loopring. And optimistic rollups run an EVM-compatible virtual machine called OVM, Optimistic Virtual Machine, which allows for executing the same smart contracts as can be executed on Ethereum. And this is really important as it makes it easier for the existing smart contracts to maintain their composability, which is extremely relevant in DeFi, where all major smart contracts were already battle-tested. And this is the method used by Optimism, and that's where Synthetix has hung its staking hat.
So this is the Oculus, and on the face of it, it looks like a pretty consumer device. And with that in mind, it's actually incredibly easy to use. With traditional VR headsets, you've got sensors around the room, and it can take a bit of time to get them set up. But with the Oculus, I mean, literally within 10 seconds, you can be set up. You set a floor level, you set your boundary guardian just by drawing it on the floor, and then you're good to go. No sensors required. And that means you can walk into any room and just get going. It also means you can use it without this cable, and that's awesome. It means you're free to move around and do whatever you want. But of course, you can also plug the cable in, and things start to get interesting, because it's not only a consumer device, it's also pretty good for developers, and built into it is developer mode. If you activate developer mode, it opens up a world of new functionality, and it opens up specifically something called SideQuest. Now, the Oculus App Store is pretty tightly gated. It's very hard to get an app on there, and I guess they're trying to keep everyone safe. But there's a whole bunch of software that's been developed for the Oculus that you can access not through the official store, but through SideQuest. And this is a little platform that has a store in there, and it has a bunch of other ways of accessing your device. It takes a bit of time to get set up, but it also means that you can access the Android software underpinning the Oculus and load in Android apps via their APKs, which means you can just go to a site like APK Mirror, look for whatever you're looking for. So if we just type in crypto into APK Mirror, we will find the BitPay app, the blockchain.com wallet, the Trust wallet. So if we want to do this with Loopring, we have to find the Loopring APK. So if we type Loopring into APK Mirror, do we find it? No. However, Google is a wonderful thing, and I did actually manage to find this on a site called androidappsapk.co. Now, can I trust it? I don't know, but I'm willing to roll the dice on this one. So now the moment of truth, it's loaded. Let's see if it's there, and let's see if we can make it work. So here we are in my library, in my lovely space station, and we look in apps, and then up here you have to go to unknown sources, and here you will see apps that are coming to you from SideQuest. So these are the APKs that I've downloaded, and here we can see the Loopring wallet. So it worked, it's on the device, but is it going to work? Well. We'll have to find that out later, because now we're going to find out more about Loopring. Okay, so Loopring is a ZK rollup exchange and payment protocol. They have their own DEX, but the protocol is designed to be used by anyone wishing to spin up their own DEX. It performs most operations, including order matching and trade settlement off-chain, which makes it fast and cheap. Now, I covered the process during this week's tutorial, so I won't repeat myself here, but suffice it to say, it just works. It's brilliant. Thing is, though, you still have to get over there, so there is that.
I don't think we have hit a critical mass in terms of layer 2 solution, because layer 2 solution is still in a very, very early stage, and all the infrastructure is still under development. So I think we still need to wait at least like 6 months to 1 year to see a good adoption, like all the DeFi move to L2 solutions. Actually, we had looked into 2 different solutions. One is sidechain, another is ZK rollup. But the sidechain is not very safe, and the zero-knowledge proof provides the same security level as Ethereum mainnet. That's why we choose ZK rollup. And also, we want to be agnostic. If in the future there's better solutions, we are happy to adopt the other solutions. I'm looking forward the mainnet launch for the Optimism rollup. Layer 2 is like it provides you a centralized user experience in a decentralized way. Especially for me, I just can't tolerate Ethereum congestion anymore. I can pay $100 for the gas fees, but I just can't wait for a super long waiting time, especially after I've tried to make a trade or transfer on layer 2. It's like almost like instantly and gasless experience. So once you're on layer 2, you will never look back to layer 1 anymore.
So now we know all that, it's time to get into VR and see if we can get the damn app to work. So here we have it. We have the Loopring wallet loaded in, and I'm going to load it up, and wow, look at that. I mean, we're in VR.
Except, obviously, as you can see, we're not, and it isn't working. And that is because in developer mode, there is an option which enables developers to disable recording in the app, and that is exactly what they'd done, which meant that when I look back at the footage, there was only black. So I had to go back to SideQuest, which apparently has a feature to disable that and get around it in order to show you what I was actually looking at. But that didn't work either, so I gave up, and now you're just going to have to watch a man wearing a pair of goggles do stuff that you can't see.
We have a full app in VR. And what I love about VR is everything just looks big, it looks impressive, and it's hanging here in my space station, but you really kind of get drawn into what you're looking at. I can scroll across, yes, that's working just fine. So now I'm going to go and create a wallet. Oh, well, that's annoying. Yeah, it doesn't work. Why are you not working? Ah! Come on, just work!
But it didn't work, and I couldn't figure out the reason for it. When I tried to activate the triggers on the Oculus controllers, they just wouldn't operate the app. But then I did try control with the Trust wallet, and I could open the app, set up a wallet with the seed phrase and everything. So I know it's possible, it just wasn't possible with the Loopring app.
I am not a developer, I'm not a hacker, but like, I thought we would... Yeah, nice idea. It sort of works, but yeah, we can't actually use the wallet. So I think it's time to go back to the drawing board and see what we can do here. So some of you might remember, last year we published by far the wackiest video of our short history when we covered Aavegotchi with its novel DeFi/NFT mechanism using rarity farming. Fast forward to 2021 and the project found themselves stymied by high gas fees on Ethereum. Lead developer Nick Mudge was looking for a way to reduce the cost for users, and they announced a move to Matic on the 4th of January. As they said, you shouldn't have to pay $2 to pet your Aavegotchi. The result? Aave's A tokens can now be ported to Matic via a bridge. The Aave A tokens are minted when users deposit crypto assets into the lending protocol to earn interest, and now they can use and trade MA tokens on Matic with the interest of the original A token remaining intact on layer 1. The bridge's creator Nick Mudge told us, once A tokens are transferred to Matic network, they can be transferred to any person on the network and any systems on that network. Pretty cool. Now, Matic enables new functionality not present on Ethereum's layer 1. So a key app on the network is QuickSwap, which is a Uniswap clone. As MA tokens generate interest from their use, just like A tokens, they can also be staked into QuickSwap, generating returns as a liquidity provider as well. And this cannot be done on Ethereum's layer 1.
We're still very early in the days of scaling via layer 2. Matic TVL hasn't even reached $100 million. And issues like wallet compatibility and good UX are still hindering the vast majority of casual users. 2021 and 2022 will be the years that see mass adoption of L2 though, mark my words. We were planning to launch on January 4th, but extreme gas fees distressed our community and led to a vote to delay the launch. It was always our intention to launch a version of Aavegotchi on L2, we just didn't plan to do it so soon. Compatibility with the existing Ethereum ecosystem is our #1 priority. Matic is a sidechain of Ethereum, which means value can easily flow between them. Matic's network is also very secure, with over 80 validators actively staking Matic to secure the network. Finally, since Aavegotchi uses Chainlink VRF for random number generation, it was really helpful that they are also launching on Matic very soon. Personally, and from what I've heard from many of our players, once you're on L2, you regret not coming over sooner. It's a great experience, and I hope all of your listeners will take the leap and add Matic to their MetaMask today.
As Nick said, Aave's A tokens are not traded on some exchanges like Uniswap because liquidity providers would lose the interest that A tokens generate. But that is not the case with MA tokens on Matic network, which derive all their value from A tokens, which sounds like a winner for Aave. And you know what the opposite of a winner is? A loser, which perfectly describes me and my attempts to get the Loopring app working on the Oculus. Sitrep, couldn't make it work. I tried, but like debugging these things, this is not what I do. Oh no, 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 no. Come on! Surely there has to be a way to make this work. It's Android, it's an APK, it's the same thing. Why doesn't it work? Well, I tried Metamask. It didn't work. I am not particularly optimistic about this working, which coincidentally is the world's worst segue into our next topic. Now, Synthetix is a protocol that enables the issuance of synthetic assets on the Ethereum blockchain. They support synthetic commodities like gold and silver, synthetic cryptocurrencies, synthetic inverse cryptocurrencies, synthetic cryptocurrency indexes, synthetic fiat currencies, but not, as far as I'm aware, synthetic humans.
I'm an android.
Now, they're bringing non-blockchain-based asset exposure to the crypto ecosystem, opening it up even more to the outside world. And you can trade synths on Quenta, Synthetix's decentralized exchange, and Synthetix's native token, SNX, is used to provide collateral against synths that are issued. And by any measure, the project had a hell of a year in 2020. And on January 15th, they deployed their staking code on Layer 2, this time using Optimism, making it the first major DeFi protocol to do so. In a blog post introducing the move, Kane Warwick said, "We've spoken to many of the teams working on the major scaling variants, and after reviewing each of them, I believe Optimistic Ethereum is the scaling solution likely to reach consensus within the community." And he provided a typically Kane overview of the current solutions. So where does that leave my experiment to do rollups in VR? Well, almost dead, but not quite. It can be done, and here's how. I use the tether to connect to Steam VR, open a remote desktop panel, and just do it like I would sitting at my desk, except a lot slower, and you know what? Why even bother? But that's just it, isn't it? It's easy to point at a thing and say that won't work, but there's far more value in trying and then understanding why it doesn't, and then using that to fuel further inquiry and further innovation. Now, it's taken VR 30 years to get to the point where it's as good as it is now, but it still has a long way to go. But it had to go through these painful early iterations to get to the good stuff. And I feel that's where we are with Layer 2 right now. Sure, it's a little clunky and it's hard to get there, but you know what? Try it, and you might just like it. And researching this piece reminded me of the painful experience of being British right now, because in many ways, the ideal vision of crypto is kind of like Europe. Free access, free labor market, free trade. And for most of my life, this has just been something I took for granted. But now, suddenly, I need a residence permit that costs money. I can't freely travel, I can't freely work. Well, I guess that's probably hard to imagine for those who live in the US, but here, it's a big deal. Everything is now slower, more expensive, and more bureaucratic coming in and out of Great Britain. And it seems a strange idea to compare crypto to Europe. But in the Middle Ages, all these countries were at war with each other, and there doth been much rapage and pillage. Sound like crypto tribalism to you? But then they figured it all out. We have smart people in this space, and I'm sure they can figure it out too. This was the Defiant. I'll see you in VR. And before everyone jumps into the comments, yes, I do know about XDAI and sidechains. We'll cover that in a future video. Peace.